Welcome all. Myself Sanal Kumar, HODS and H department. Now we are going to discuss about the fuel cells and fuel cell technology. What is the current scenario? The use of fuel cells and energy resources increasing day by day. The fuel cell is one of the important component in electric vehicle as well as the energy sources. So, what is the necessity of introduction of a fuel cell? We can discuss with a graphical representation of power and year based on the power consumption. The world power demand and the total power available is varying by the supplied by the alternative resources. Commonly an IC engine which convert chemical energy into mechanical energy, and mechanical energy is converted to electric energy by a generator. But in this case of a fuel cell or battery, the chemical energy is totally converted into electrical energy. So, what is a fuel cell? We are familiar with hydrogen oxygen fuel cell, proton exchange type fuel cells. Basically, fuel cells are the static electrochemical energy systems which directly converts chemical energy into electrical energy. It is adaptable to wide range of power levels. Various types of fuel cells are available. Typically, it is used for various devices, portable electronic equipments, cars, boat, domestic purpose, and also the distribution of power generation, buses, etc. The range of application of different types of fuel cell is different in their range. There are familiar some kinds of fuel cells, that direct methanol fuel cell, solid oxide fuel cell, alkaline fuel cell, phosphoric acid fuel cell, molten carbonate fuel cell, and the one of the important one is proton exchange member fuel cell. It is commonly a catalytic property and a proton exchange membrane. The working of a fuel cell is given in graphically here. And hydrogen from the hydrogen tank, it transfer electrons, that is protons, into the through the exchange membrane. After completing the circuit, an electrical current is developed. It is the electrochemical combination of hydrogen, that is anode, and an oxidant, that is cathode. Electrocatalyst is naphthalene is used here. The anode is platinum or rubidium. Platinum is a cathode is used. Fuel cells are mainly classified into 5 categories. That is polymer electrolyte membrane, solid oxide fuel cells and alkaline fuel cells, phosphoric acid fuel cells and molten carbonate fuel cells. In this, polymer electrolyte membrane fuel cells are: a membrane refers to a thin layer of electrolyte which conduct proton from the anode to the cathode. Desirable membrane material are those that exhibit high ionic conductivity, it preventing electron transport and crossover of hydrogen fuel from the anode and oxygen reactant from the cathode. Polymer electrolyte membrane consists of basic components like a membrane, that is polymer electrolyte membrane, and electrocatalyst, that is platinum, and bipolar plates. Hydrogen and oxygen are familiarly used, most commonly used type of gases, and the catalyst and the gas diffusion layer here, and anode electrode and cathode electrode. It is separated by a proton exchange membrane. The protons are moved through the exchange membrane to the cathode region. What are the important properties of a polymer electrolyte membrane? It's a good mechanical strength and good thermal conductivity, high stability in oxidative and reductive environment, good chemical and electrochemical stability, good barrier properties for the reactant, space and good possessibility for preparation. Naphthalene is a current membrane most based on the perfluorosulfonic acid and the most prominent which is naphthalene. It's a membrane which is very costly and primarily due to their complex fabrication process. And another one is PEEK, that is polyether ether ketone. It is a colorless organic thermoplastic polymer. PEEK is semi-crystalline thermoplastic with excellent mechanical and chemical resistance properties that are retained to high temperature. PEEK melt at relatively high temperature around 343 degrees Celsius compared to most of other thermoplastics. These are mainly making with a modern technique, that is additive manufacturing of 3D printing technique. Additive manufacturing is nothing but it's a construction of material that has been one of the emerging advanced technologies that aim to minimize the supply chain in the construction industry through autonomous production of building components directly from digital models without human inventions and complicated frameworks. But in the case of additive manufacturing, the 3D printing process, the process builds part layer by depositing one material according to another. For example, instead of milling a workpiece from a solid block, additive manufacturing is built part of layer wise the material supplied for by a fine powder. As today, additive manufacturing application have been developed various industry in the consumer production, electronics, automotive industry, medical purpose, aerospace industry, tools, or others. What are the advantages of additive manufacturing? The most important thing is save the material waste and energy, and the prototype cost is very less. Small production runs often prove faster and less expensive. They do not need a much on the hand inventory. It's easy to recreate and optimize legacy parts. These advantages are more compatible with any other types of manufacturing process. So fuel cells and additive manufacturing technologies are one of the future inventions in our future inventions in our engineering sector. Thank you.